You know, these videos aren't for kids. If you aren't at least 18 or are easily offended, you should probably click off. We here at Dual Wield accept no responsibility for your children. So if you are an adult who sat your kids down to watch our videos, you should be ashamed. Anyway, back to the video.
Are you ready?
Now please welcome the hosts of Dual Wield Wednesday, Vegeta Almighty and Jin Drax. Take it away, guys.
Greetings, my loyal subjects. It is I, the Prince of All Saints, Vegeta Almighty, back with another episode of Dual Wield Wednesdays for 31 days of Halloween. And with me, as always, and live and in person this time, is my illustrious co-host, Jin Drax. Say hello to the nice people at home.
Hey-o!
I can touch you!
Oh my
I
god.
can touch you now!
I would prefer that you did.
And we'll tell that to HR. Anyway, today...
You're lucky we don't have an HR.
Yeah, damn right. Today, I'm in such a good mood for my friend joining me live and in person. We had a couple of family events that brought him back into town. So now we are here, just finishing off this final episode of the 2024 Halloween podcast. And we're going to start off with a little treat because I feel like we've earned it. And I'm just so happy to see my friend that I decided to get us a little treat. So as you can tell, and as I've alluded to in the past, I got us some, it really makes a good sound, some Wednesday, yeah, get it, because it's Dual Wield Wednesdays, and also it's spooky, because, Wednesday Addams. Anyway, it's a cookies and cream flavored cereal. It's it smells interesting. Without reading what the flavor was, and when you first handed it to me and said it smelled interesting and I smelled it, I thought it was going to be a coffee flavored cereal.
Yeah, and I like your cookies and cream.
It smells like coffee almost, but it looks like extra dirty Cocoa Puffs with white marshmallows in them.
Yeah, kinda.
That vaguely resemble a skull.
Vaguely.
Yeah, so it's turds and rhombuses is what it is. But
Way to bring out that middle school geometry.
well, hey, I had learned something in middle school, I'm sure.
What a fucking rhombus is, apparently.
Yeah. What Yu-Gi-Oh was, that was about it.
Oh my god.
But we're going to go ahead and give us the good old-fashioned... Oh, I realize the fan is pointed right at the microphone. That's probably not a pleasant sound. But let's give it the old ASMR pour of the milk.
The milk.
That might be a bit too much. But
Yeah, probably.
I am lactose intolerant.
Not tonight, you're not.
You better not be. Not while we're trapped in this small room together. Oh, God.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is why I usually get soy milk.
Getting it... Yeah, but your wife doesn't like soy milk.
Yeah, I know.
Which isn't very fun to me. Getting it wet on first appearances, by the way, before trying it. Getting it wet has, in fact, made it worse.
Much. And I think it's intentional, but the coloring bled all over the marshmallows immediately.
I'm trying my damnedest here to pretend that these are not this is boba with lots of boba balls. And
it immediately transformed the milk too.
Yeah, I'm trying to pretend this is boba balls and not turd balls. But let's give it the old taste test and see how it tastes. Bone apple tit. Oh. Oh. Oh.
Hmm.
Hmm. Oh. Oh. Mm. Mm-mm.
Tastes like every other generic cookies and cream cereal.
This has been an emotional roller coaster for me.
Has a weird little aftertaste.
Because it started off tasting like Cocoa Puffs with a hint of the marshmallow. But then it started melting together in my mouth, and it started to become a bit of a pleasant experience. And taste like an actual cookies and cream kind of thing.
And then the aftertaste hits you.
Then it started to, as it's fading before we even get there, it started to just taste like Pops. Corn Pops.
Like Kicks.
No, I was thinking specifically Corn Pops in my instance.
Really?
Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay, it's okay, I like Corn Pops. And then I remembered why I stopped eating Corn Pops. Which will segue nicely into that story later. And then, as I'm recovering from that trauma, the aftertaste kicks in, and it's like, you don't actually like this. But then after that brief aftertaste subsides, it goes back to Cocoa Puffs. Like,
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna finish this because I have the munchies like a motherfucker. But it's like about a 4 out of 10. It's not great.
I'll give it more points than that. As a novelty, something to give as a treat. I wouldn't even say this would be a great breakfast.
No.
It's just too much of what it is. And I feel like if I don't wash this bowl out immediately afterwards, it's going to stain the bowl.
Right. This is like, it's like Kicks with a coating that goes away.
Well, this Cocoa Puffs with the coating that goes away.
No, because even Cocoa Puffs has that chocolatey good flavor to it. And it doesn't leave that aftertaste in your mouth like Kicks does.
There's a hint of that chocolate in here.
Yeah, a hint, not like a
It's
good
off-brand.
flavor.
Off-brand Cocoa Puffs.
Which is
Actually,
ironic considering that this is a name brand novelty cereal.
Well, it's not name. Oh, yeah, it's name brand, yeah. Actually, you might be more spot on with that Kicks thing than I first. The more I eat it, the more I'm agreeing with you. I don't know. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. I mean, you could do worse. It could be Raisin Bran.
First of all, I like Raisin Bran. Fuck off.
You're old. I say
I'm
that.
not old.
I
It's
say
just
that, and we're the same age.
Right. Actually, I'm slightly older than you.
Yeah, whatever. Like by like a year.
Yeah.
But, sorry, I'll be more fair. It's like cornflakes. You could do cornflakes.
Fair enough.
No one likes cornflakes. I'm sorry.
Because once you add sugar, they just basically become frosted flakes.
Yeah. Yeah, if you say you like cornflakes and you have to add sugar to them, you don't like cornflakes. You like frosted flakes.
Or add literally anything to them, because they're so fucking bland.
Yeah. I'd actually rather eat soft chips. What is chip on here? We have somehow, before even getting to the topic, gotten off of it. I don't understand how we're both still eating this, by the way. Like,
I already
mindlessly.
explained why. For me. I don't know why you're still eating it.
Like, I'm not struggling with it either. Like, this is the mindless action one has eating cereal. You really just don't stop.
We're not wasteful.
No, that you don't want to eat it too soggy. So you eat it before it does.
Like I said, I have the munchies, so I'm gonna eat it regardless.
I don't hate this.
I don't say I hate it, but I won't be buying it.
I do not like it. Like, let me reiterate that. I do not like it. I don't hate it. Well, I don't dislike it.
So, you know how I know I'm getting old? One of my favorite cereals has become the Cinnamon Oat Squares. Like, I love them. I don't know why. They're so good. It's the off-brand life.
For me, it's the Honey Bunches of Oat off-brand. That's how you know I'm getting old.
I do love Honey Bunches of Oats. Like, all of them. That's just so good.
We're officially old now.
I've always loved that cereal, though.
But,
Something about granola, dude.
fuck that guy.
Granola and milk. So good.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, I really want to finish this ball, but I also want to get into my story about, I mentioned earlier, why I don't eat Pops anymore. I know I've told you this story,
Probably.
but I don't think I've told it on the podcast. So, when I was a kid, I was a huge fan of Pops, the cereal. They were sweet, they were crunchy, but also kind of sticky in a weird way. They were a very unique package, and I loved them. Well, every morning before school, my grandmother would make me. This is again speaking of middle school. Back in middle school, my grandmother would put some chocolate chip Eggo waffles in the toaster and butter them up and put syrup on them. Bring them to me with a bowl of Pops. Well, one morning, and then I walked to school. Well, one morning, I'm sitting down, having breakfast. Eating my Pops, watching TV. When I look down at my bowl, and I saw them. Very similar to this, although not as extreme. There's these little black specks floating in my cereal, which is weird because they're yellow. And I'm thinking, okay, from time to time, sugar, or even some of the cereal stuff might get burnt in manufacturing. Whatever, it is what it is. Maybe even a speck of dust fell in. Okay, no big deal. Till that black spot started moving on its own. On my spoon. Up my spoon. It was an ant. I was about 2/3 of the way done with this bowl of cereal. I don't know how many ants I had consumed that day. I shudder to think of that. I dare not try to recall. But ever since that day, I'd never ate another fucking bowl of Pops in my life. I know it's an irrational fear. I know it's unlikely that I'll ever have that issue again. And that it's not Pops' fault. But sometimes all it takes is one bad experience to ruin you.
Sometimes.
Which is exactly why I won't eat the original chicken sandwich at Burger King anymore. You go do that. I'm going to regale them with tales of me eating at Burger King. So this is another story. I know I've told Jin this one while he goes to put away the milk. Because we're not made of money. When I was a little kid, I was still about 4th grade at the time. 3rd, 4th, something like that. My dad was working in Daytona doing flooring. Because my dad, when we lived in Florida, did flooring jobs all over the state. Well, it was during the summer, school was out, and he wanted to take us on a little trip. Got a hotel room so that we could stay go to the beach, whatever. Well, we got there, it was late, so we couldn't go to the beach. But we were hungry. Mind you, my dad made good money, but my mom wasn't working at the time. And we still lived like we were, poor. For various reasons, but I don't want to really get into those on the podcast. But we decided we wanted Burger King for dinner. Well, we go to the Burger King, and at this point in my life, I was in the I'm a big boy now stage, and I was done eating off the kids menu, right? And I had stopped eating, kids, quote unquote, little kid food. I had switched to the adult menu. Well, around that time, I had started trying the original chicken sandwiches. Because I was like, oh, that's an adult thing to eat, as opposed to like the kids' meal burger and the fries and stuff.
Right.
And I liked them. I thought they were really good. Until this night in particular. I remember specifically wanting just the two. I just wanted two of those. Actually, no, I think I just wanted one. And I got that, fries and drink. Didn't even touch the fries. And of course I had a few sips of the drink. But I ate that chicken sandwich. And it fucking ruined my stomach for the week. I was throwing up. It made me so sick. And from that point on, it tasted fine. But in my head, I correlated me vomiting and being so sick that week to that chicken sandwich, to the point where I was when did I say I had it? Like, about 3 years ago was the first time I had one in all that time. And, this was like damn near probably 20 years later. And, can't say the experience was much better. I didn't get sick, but the food was pretty subpar. I blame that on the Burger Kings around here. But, at least I didn't die. So, that's that. But I wanted to, despite the terrors of food poisoning and eating ants, I wanted to kind of take today to just unwind and kind of not necessarily coast into the finish line of 31 Days of Halloween, but my friend here has had a long week. He's had a long trip. God knows my week has been awful. I just got done having strep, by the way, which give me sympathy in the comments.
Right.
But got done having strep. I had a whole ordeal with my Sparking Zero Yeah, you know what here's the scary topic. My week. My week has been terrifyingly bad. So, oh my god. Ooh. I just went full Chewbacca there for a second. Yeah, fucking, okay, yeah. You know what? Fucking, it's rant time. This is secretly turned into an episode of Jesus Not So Final Explosion. So, fucking GameStop, right? I'm gonna get this off my chest, and then I'm gonna let you start us into the fucking actual topic of the show. Fuck GameStop. That's kind of the end of that. That's kind of the gist of this story. But fuck GameStop, man. I put my money in for the pre-order of Sparking Zero, and fuck GameStop, cause I get there on release day, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, we don't have it." The fuck you mean you don't have it? What did I give you money for? The dude pulls out a stack of games. He gave me these. Leia, I can read that from across the room. I can read what the fuck that says from all the way over here. You want to bring it closer so I can see? Are you going to give me a copy for free for the mishap? No. Then fuck off. Didn't even have the posters, which I would have taken the poster as for the inconvenience. He would not have been getting that back when I inevitably canceled my pre-order. But it was so fucking, infuriating. And it was so many different GameStops across the area. I had that same issue where the warehouse didn't send them the game. They sent them the wrong game or whatever. Because they're supposed to get them a week out. And he was like, "Oh, I'm supposed to be getting a box of them in today." So when the FedEx guy gets here, I'll call you, take your name and number down. He never calls me. I ended up calling Jen, and I'm like, hey, bro, I hate to be this way. Can I just bum the money from you, and I'll pay you back when you get here, because I know you're coming over from out of state, and, you need all that hard-earned money of yours to, make it here and back. So I need to make sure I actually get you back this hard-earned money in a convenient time frame. It would be a damn shame if something happened to where you couldn't get this money back on time. Hint, hint, foreshadowing. So he was like, yeah, sure. And he paid for the fucking digital download because at least the fucking PlayStation Store has it digitally, despite the fact that I hate purchasing digital. So I go back to GameStop. The guy's like, oh, I was just about to call you. Oh, I bet you fucking were. And he was like, I got the box in, and there was no game in there. I didn't even hesitate I didn't bother to ask, was there anything in there? Because honestly, at this point, I couldn't give a fuck less, because I'm here to cancel my pre-order anyway. So the bastard talks me out of getting cash. This is where I fucked up. Alright, I'm sick. I'm tired. I'm hot. I'll go home. I'm frustrated. I just want to play Sparking Zero. My best friend's coming into town, and I'm sick, and I just want to play fucking Sparking Zero. And he talks me out of getting cash. Oh, it'll be instant. If you put your card in, and it'll show right up on your card, 15 minutes max. In the immortal words of Tyler the Creator, that was a fucking lie. Yeah, so I got it back 3 days later. I wanted to neck myself at the end of the day. But fuck GameStop. Anyway, would you like to segue us, now that I've knocked the controller off, into our topic for the day while I poison my body with milk?
Sure. So the topic that we're actually talking about today
you start us off.
Is some of our favorite moments, characters, things like that were spooky in any type of wrestling, WWE, ECW, AEW, any of that stuff. And
keep stalling.
I gotta say, one of my personal favorites is one that encapsulated me when I was younger. I know he's not like a lot of people's favorite, but the way that he used to torment Booker T and Sharmell, you good in there?
I'm fine, keep stalling.
Vegeta's having problems. But the way he used to torment King Booker, specifically, King Booker and Sharmell, always just made me laugh because Booker T is so good at playing a heel that he genuinely made me hate him when I was younger. So, seeing this dude torment King Booker and Sharmell really brought me joy. And that, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't guessed already, is the Boogeyman.
Ooh, he's coming to get you. I'm gonna wet myself in the kitchen, apparently. Sorry about that.
But yes, I absolutely love the Boogeyman. He is one of my favorites. The whole, I can't believe that the guys in the locker room were okay with him, taking a handful of worms and shoving them down their throat.
I wouldn't exactly be surprised if they weren't exactly okay with the idea. But you tell Vince McMahon no.
Yeah, right.
Apparently, it's so unlikely that you go on for it for years and years and years, and to the point where you finally think he's old and weak that you finally file a lawsuit about it. But that's neither here nor there. But
right.
Apparently, that's how difficult it is to say no to Vince Kennedy McMahon.
Yeah, he was I know he was one of the less popular, creepy characters in the show, but honestly, I really loved him. Anytime he could show up on SmackDown, on Friday, and I would fucking pop out.
The fact they never did more with him almost feels like a disservice to the wrestling world. Simply because, and this is another example of the games sometimes having better creative than the actual goddamn company. The fucking Boogeyman should have feuded with The Undertaker.
I agree. Like, he really should have. That would have been an amazing feud.
Yeah, it would have made him a much bigger deal. You could have just done so much with that. The Boogeyman, as a cosmic horror character, could have worked if you had him booked properly. But
But no, let's make him a comedy act.
Look at that fucking key phrase there. Booked properly.
Yeah. Like, I really hate the fact that he was essentially a comedy act.
He was. He was a comedy act. Comedy act.
Blueberries.
Blueberries. It's rare that we get those on the podcast. He was a comedy act used to pop the crowd, get a cheap pop out of them. That was all he really was. And, you know, I kind of hate that. Because he could have been... They don't take the supernatural characters as seriously. They never have and never probably will take them as seriously as they did Kane and Taker.
I mean, yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. That's kind of what it boils down to.
Taker.
Really, Taker, yeah.
Because need I remind you of the two most infamous words in professional wrestling history. Katie Vick. You know, your wife had never seen that angle before, and then I had to explain to her that, yeah, no, that was Triple H in a Kane mask, simulating having sex with a dummy, and there were people in that. It was in an actual funeral home, and there were people in the room over having an actual funeral at the time of that thing recorded.
Yeah.
And you just imagine there paying respects to your loved ones. One of you, let's say your grandmother just passed, and you're sitting there. I love you, Grandma. I'll miss you so much. And you just hear, I did it. I screwed your brains out. I'm definitely Kane. Like, imagine that. Like,
or even the unseriousness that is Kane when he fucking did the whole Rock and Hogan thing. When he teamed with
normal guy, Glenn. As the Deadlock boys refer to him as, just Glenn. He just fucking. Do you want to lose your job? Yeah. Kinda. This place sucks. Yeah, just like normal fucking dude Kane. Like, yeah.
But yeah, like...
Hug it out, Kane. I didn't really care for either.
Yeah.
Anger management Kane. That's just because I don't like the goat man, but... Yeah, they'll never be taken as seriously as Taker, and that bothers me. Because it can be done. Taker is literally living proof of that.
I think the closest they ever came to actually making a supernatural character work as well as The Undertaker was The Fiend.
That was the closest, but it still wasn't even that damn close.
Well, I'm sorry, Bray Wyatt more so than The Fiend. Because, let's be honest, The Fiend as a character...
As a concept was kind of goofy.
As a concept was good. As the execution... The execution was goofy.
Again, that goes to booking, but...
But Bray, without the mask, fucking killed it.
I disagree. Because at every fucking turn, they cut his knees out from underneath him.
That's true, but when you look at what he had, like the way that he worked it, like I didn't say that he was very close to The Undertaker. I said he was the closest. Near.
I think he was just as bad, if not worse, as Kane. Because what he really did, he had, like my dad said, he had the potential to be the next Taker. But he had what? The Wyatt Compound fight with New Day. That was a masterpiece. He had his introduction with Kane, where he laid out Kane, and then
feud.
He just lost, and lost, and lost, and lost some fucking more. And he beat some nobody, but then he lost, and lost. Then he became champion and lost. And lost. and lost.
Oh yeah, Roman fucking decimated him.
He lost all the time to everybody. He lost to Taker after Taker lost the streak.
Yeah.
If there was ever a time, that would have been it. If you... Fuck... I hate Brock Lesnar so goddamn much. God, I hate him as a human being and as a professional wrestler. If there was... It was not Brock. Brock didn't deserve it. Brock should have, pulled a groin or something that day. If there was justice in the universe, he wouldn't have made the flight to New Orleans. Not saying he would have crashed. I'm thinking it, but I'm not saying it. Maybe his bus was late and he didn't make his flight. But Bray Wyatt should have been the one to break the streak. That could have propelled him to the heights he needed to be at. No, he just fucking squandered him. But I genuinely don't think there has been a gimmick other than The Undertaker's that has been taken seriously and has been booked seriously. I mean, don't get me wrong. I still love Bray Wyatt. I love The Fiend. I fucking love Kane. Not a big fan of the human being, Glenn Jacobs, but Kane was great.
Kane was pretty fucking awesome. Especially his music. His entrance music is fucking iconic.
Especially his entrance music, his debut.
Yeah, the ripping the fucking cage door off.
I liked the Brood. Again, unfortunate they were never really taken that seriously.
Yeah, well, I mean,
they were Taker's henchmen, basically.
Yeah, and I was gonna say there's kind of a difference between.
I'm making a lot of noise. I'm
really
not trying to.
There's kind of a difference between like the dead man, the immortal zombie cowboy biker that is the Undertaker, and then you have some vampires.
That's very true. Yeah.
Like it's kind of hard, especially when they're in Taker's shadow and they're his henchmen.
Yeah.
Like trying to get them to be their own thing and be as terrifying. You can't really like propel from that. Once you're like Taker's assistants, that's all they're gonna fucking see you as.
I want to talk about real quick my favorite creepy, scary, supernatural segments in professional wrestling. Most of them involve Taker. I'm gonna just be honest here. Just kind of briefly touch on some. Taker hanging Boss Man is an iconic memory for me.
Oh my
God. That will forever be stored.
I don't even know how the hell they pulled that off.
Harness. He had a harness on. They strapped him in too. If you look closely, you can see he's being lifted up from the back of his shirt.
Huh.
Yeah, they did it very well. Yeah, but as a kid, I thought they just killed a man live on TV, and then they bring him back the next night on Raw like nothing had happened. He was like, "Hey, what's up, Vince? Hey, aren't you dead? Yeah, but I got better." Fucking,
I got better.
Then I think some of my all-time favorites are from Return of the Dead Man Taker. His mind games he played with Randy Orton, making him see Bob Orton bleeding out, and showing up behind him in the mirror, and freaking him the fuck out that way. Possessing Todd Grisham, and fucking, like, having him speak through Todd Grisham. But I think my all-time favorite... Oh, there was also the one I think I already told you about, with, he was feuding with Booker T. I think it was a Judgment Day match, and Booker T was going to go see some, voodoo lady to get some sort of voodoo magic to protect himself from The Undertaker. And she had to go get the dirt from the grave of the unnamed man, or some shit like that. And after Booker T grabs it and walks away, his hand, like, pops out, and like lightning, shit starts going around. But I think my favorite one has to be... my favorite Taker one has to be all the games he played on Kane before coming back at Mania 20. As the Dead Man again. All the mind games he played on Kane was so good. They were so good. But that brings me into... there are two segments I really wanted to talk about. Because I could gush about Taker all day. But I just kind of wanted to skim over my favorite moments from Taker. And go over some of my less appreciated moments. I think moments that don't get enough appreciation. The May 19th shit for Kane. When he was freaking the fuck out about that dude.
That was when the whole See No Evil movie was coming out.
Right.
And they tied the storyline to the movie.
Yeah, they tied it into, that's the date that his parents were killed.
Yeah.
And on May 19th, I believe it was, on Raw, May 19th, Masked Kane comes out to attack Unmasked Kane.
Yeah,
The
I
fake
remember that.
Kane.
The fake Kane.
That turned out to be fucking Festus. I guess they just decided, this isn't going anywhere.
Good old Luke Gallows.
I guess they finally decided this isn't going anywhere. Send his ass back to OVW. Take the mask, throw him out the door, tell him to point him in the direction of OVW, and then let's drop this whole angle. I feel like that angle should have gone way farther than it actually did.
Yeah.
That would have been cool. But it was clearly just not Kane. It was clearly not Kane. It was clear.
Well, it's hard to fucking find another person exactly like Kane. Like, Kane has a very unique body type.
Could have at least found somebody with hair.
I mean,
Like, that wig idea was terrible. And it was a terrible wig, too.
God, do you remember when Kane had hair?
I know.
Ugh.
Yeah.
It was the weirdest fucking haircut, dude.
You remember when Kane had kind of hair?
Yeah.
When he took his mask off first
Yeah,
time?
it was like, that's what I'm talking about. Like,
I thought you were talking about
bald
when he
up top,
actually had-
and then, like, had that weird fucking, like, weird shave in
He
the
had
back.
the Bill Dotrieve situation going on.
Right, but Bill still had more hair.
Which is wild. I can shave it! I can shave it! I'm sorry, Rob. I'm going to choke slam you now. Anyway, well, I thought you were talking about when he had long hair.
No, like, I was cool with, like, Kane with long hair, but, like, I was talking about when he, like, unmasked for the first time. You saw this fucking weird-ass haircut, and you saw that the hair was part of the mask.
Yeah.
Like,
That was an
shit
intense
was
moment,
weird.
though.
That took it all away for me. Like, he should have just been bald.
But you know what? Segueing back in. First of all, another thing I want to talk about was those weird vignettes that were playing before he returned with the mat. Like, not the John Cena fucking give into the hate shit, but like, he had gotten injured or something during the Ruthless Aggression era, and like, all of a sudden this pyro would go off and his mask would appear on the Titantron and start talking, teasing that he was returning. You remember those old
I remember
vignettes?
that. Yeah.
Those were creepy as fuck. But tying back into what you said, that kind of gave it, like, kind of did it all for you. What hooked me back in, and this is easily my favorite 2 Kane moments of all time. First of all, the only way you can know what how I feel when I do what I do is to experience my pain. I'm gonna set you on fire, JR! When he set JR on fire. Ah! 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 Fucking set JR's ass on fire.
That shit was great.
That was a great segment. The way that show went off the air was so fucking iconic. I'll never forget the way that show went off the air. Damn you, Steve Austin! Damn you straight to hell! You rotten bastard! I'll never forget that. That fucking shit, the way that show ended was so peak cinema. I love the way that shit ended. I was like, oh fuck, Steve's gonna fuck Kane up next week. And so that and the greatest Kane entrance of all time. Slow Chemical, surrounded by police, in the shackles. Peak. He should have never stopped coming out like that.
Right.
He should have arrived to the ring like that, gotten unhooked, and fought somebody who was going to be fired because he should have died live in that ring. You should have seen Kane take out an axe and split his fucking skull open live on national television before being shackled again and carried out. We should have witnessed a murder in the ring every time Kane was around. Obviously, I'm exaggerating with the axe and the skull and all that, but we should have seen him absolutely attempt to murder every person he stepped in the ring with. Either attempt to murder or absolutely beat the dog shit out of. Like,
he should have been booked way stronger than he was.
Yeah, dude. Once he took that mask off and you had him set Jim Ross on fire and had him come down to the ring surrounded by guards in shackles, and the crowd was, you could tell people in the crowd were terrified of this man. That, you had it. You had the formula, and you fucking threw it away. Don't get me wrong, Kane still had some good moments.
Oh, yeah, especially when he was with Taker.
He was never the same. He was never. That was peak Kane right there.
Don't even get me started on corporate Kane.
Ugh. Let's not. And then, you know, even when they tried to book him seriously, from then on, it just wasn't the fucking same. His weird feud with Rey Mysterio, fucking taking his mask, and fucking. Then there was the feud where he blamed him for putting Taker in the vegetative state, when we all knew it was Kane. And then there was the whole fucking, just going up to Santino, where's Punk? Did you try the Pepsi machine? And then he fucking, like, grabs him up or whatever. A hilarious segment for Santino. It did not do wonders for Kane. I'm going to say that much.
Did you try the Pepsi machine?
Which, you know what? Fair point. If I was Kane, I'd have been like, no, but thank you, I'll go look there now. That's a good idea. I would have immediately went to the Pepsi machine. I mean, he's got a tattoo of Pepsi. I'm assuming the guy likes to drink it. But I don't know. I was never able to take Kane as seriously as 6 armed guards, shackles, walking out to the ring to perform a live execution on Eric Bischoff. And then of course you got the fucking, when he choke slammed him off the fucking stage and they shoved the camera up his nose.
Yeah.
That run of Kane, and then you had the fucking him feuding with Shane, and then Shane throwing him in a burning dumpster, and then taunting him live via satellite, and then him sitting up out of the fucking hospital bed like Mike Myers coming back to life to kill again. Like, you had the formula with Kane. He's a serial killer from a horror slasher film. You made a serial killer horror slasher film about him. Just do that.
Right.
Obviously without the killing and the removing of the eyeballs, but just have him beat the fuck out of people. You can't book him. I mean, it never stopped you with Brock Lesnar, but you can't book him to be so unbeatable that he literally can never realistically lose. But whoever beats him has to put up a goddamn good fight.
Or has to use tricks.
Exactly. Like,
because then you can keep Kane looking strong, and then the other person still gets the dub.
Right. Like that. And then again.
Also, don't have him. As much as I love and respect Rey Mysterio. Don't fucking have somebody like Kane feud with Rey Mysterio.
I mean, I get it.
That's
a good thing. People can work good that way.
That's a horrible angle. I'm sorry.
It's not a good angle, but like a big guy and a little guy can historically put on a great match together, and they can work chemistry-wise, because A, it can make the big strong guy look even stronger and bigger, and like slam him down and throw him up even higher, but it can make the little guy look even faster and more crafty and agile. But you can't really do that with Kane. When you're building a monster,
that's what I'm saying.
Roman Reigns versus Rey Mysterio? Sure. Fucking Batista, even, versus Rey Mysterio.
That was a good fucking angle.
Kane?
No.
Kane should have ripped his mask off with his skull still attached to it. Like, fucking...
Just saying.
Like
when you have somebody like Kane booked to lose to somebody like Rey Mysterio and it's done clean, that's a problem. That's an image problem.
And then you have, like, if you have a bigger guy that you know is not really going to go anywhere, and you're not too worried about protecting his image, you know what would have continued to do great for Kane? Have him absolutely squash and destroy the Great Khali.
That would have been great.
God, he killed another monster without breaking a sweat. This Kane guy is some serious fucking business. And you know how you keep him, if you want other people to be world champion and you don't want Kane to be champion all the time? You know how you keep him out of the championship running? He just kills everybody because he just wants to. He doesn't give a fuck about titles. He's supposed to beat the fuck out of people and because he gets off on that. Because that's literally all he knows is causing pain to others. Do it to the point where it's like you can't even offer him a match because he keeps either getting disqualified because he won't stop killing his opponents, or he won't stop beating the fuck out of them, or he's just having a segment where he just backstage runs into somebody and just throws them through a wall, or some shit like that. Like he doesn't have to always have a match. Just have him constantly beating up somebody,
right?
And like being a monster. Also, keep a fucking microphone away from him.
Yeah. No, he's pretty awful on the mic.
Don't get me wrong, he's had a few decent promos. But Kane, the only thing you should hear out of Kane is "Rah!" That's like about the only thing you should hear out of Kane.
Agreed.
Kane should be just killing people. I keep harping on this, but no, Kane should be an unstoppable force of nature that either needs to be conquered by a barely surviving hero or outsmarted by a genius. Like there's no surviving a Kane match unscathed. You've done it before. There was no reason they couldn't have done that with Kane and not book themselves into a corner. Don't look at Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar doesn't count. Vince was lazy at that point. Brock was his friend, and he had no other fucking choice because he couldn't make a new star because he relied too much on fucking Cena. And he booked himself into a corner because he was now the touch old man. But Kane should have been... he should have been better. But, sorry, I know I rambled on too long about that, but that was like... That right there is such wasted potential. Taker was great. Kane should have been just as great.
Agreed.
Of a spooky gimmick.
He should have been. I mean, even if he's not like as high as Taker, like he should have been closer than he was.
Yeah, man. I mean, obviously, he should have been a badass, like I said, but you would still know if him and Taker got into a match, Taker's probably coming out on top. Yeah. I mean, Kane might get him on a good day, but Taker will be back. He's not going to just never come back from a Kane fight. He's definitely going to get his salty run back.
Oh, of course.
And, he's going to fucking... If anybody can beat Kane, it'll be Taker type shit. Like, that's how it should have been. Clearly, they're a clear number one and number two. Close enough to where they could have flip-flop from time to time to keep things interesting, but the fans know who the GOAT is.
Yeah.
And I feel like Kane deserved that.
I kind of feel like that's the unfortunate thing with a lot of supernatural gimmicks is they will all unfairly be compared to Taker. It's like...
Well, it's because that's the only one that's really been done justice.
Yeah, it's akin to like every white rapper being compared to Eminem. Like, he's the GOAT. He's the one that's done it the best, just like Taker's the one that's done the best supernatural gimmick because that's how he was booked. He was booked insanely well. He came out at the right time, and he rode a wave of momentum that never fucking stopped.
And he never stopped improving either.
Yeah, like he was constantly doing shit. Now, you're gonna hate that I fucking say this, and I'm sorry, but Taker's moveset was a little bit old school for my taste.
I can understand that.
He never really, like, evolved his moveset.
That's not true.
Listen, I could tell you the same 5 moves that are going to show up in every single fucking Taker match.
Well, what I'm saying is, those moves did change. Taker definitely incorporated a lot more, I want to say realistic, but I feel like that's a bad word. But I'll just go with it because I can't think of another one. A realistic striking later on in his career, whereas his other punches were clearly, your typical wrestling work punches.
Right.
He
adapted
added
those
a few more
things.
submissions. He added the last ride. He tweaked his moveset. His moveset started off way old school, obviously. But he definitely knew his bread and butter. And he knew it worked, and he knew it worked well, so why fix when it ain't broken?
I would say his bread and butter was Snake Eyes, old school, fucking choke slam, tombstone pile driver, and then added in the last ride and fucking Hell's Gate later on.
He had a big boot, he had a leg drop, he had the dead man dive.
He had a few extra little fancy things, but those were the main fucking things. The big boot, he did that a lot. Like, a lot.
The dead man dive he did at a lot of... that was some of his big moments.
Yeah, it was some
he had
of
that flying,
matches.
that flipping lariat he used to do. Or jumping lariat, with a running jumping lariat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like I said,
he had his own interpretation of a fucking clothesline, is basically...
He also had an actual just clothesline at one point. But like I said, Taker, he's not a one-trick pony, but... He's no fucking Cody Rhodes. He doesn't have a fucking back catalog of different fucking moves. Yeah. I only think of Cody because I know he's changed his finisher a few times. That's the only reason I even brought him out.
Listen, for me, it's the irony that a lot of people give a lot of guff to like people like John Cena or Randy
I'll never
Orton
understand
that have like a bread and butter moveset that they fucking use, but people will gush over Taker all fucking day long, even though he does the exact same thing.
Also, Cena I've never liked the Cena only has 5 moves thing. Because no, he doesn't. Because, and for me, what pissed me off is that for me, it was the same people saying that was the same people that was sucking Brock Lesnar's dick when he returned.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to list off Brock Lesnar's moves right here. F5. The Kimura, suplex, repeat, and strikes. One of those isn't a move, but I got the 5. Fucking.
Pretty much. And that's, like Brock Lesnar is one of the most egregious about it, which I could kind of understand that because he's booked as a monster. A monster doesn't need a diverse moveset. A monster goes in there to...
Brock doesn't need to fucking pull out a Hurricane Rana.
No.
By any stretch. And he definitely doesn't need to do that shooting star anymore.
No, absolutely fucking not. Like, he definitely does not. That was definitely an OVW thing, but he definitely needed to stop after he almost broke his fucking neck.
I don't like Brock Lesnar, but I'll give him the credit of... Yeah, he doesn't need to bust out any fucking technical mat wrestling. He doesn't need to bust out a sharpshooter. He doesn't need to bust out a body slam. He doesn't need to bust out a fucking... like a Hurricane Rana or a hip toss, arm drag, nothing. He knows what works. He's gonna take you from here and he's going to put you over there while he stays over here.
Yeah, it's... Nobody is realistically strong enough and technical enough to push him into actual technical wrestling.
Yeah. He's going to take Bikini Bottom and throw it somewhere else. Like, that's his thing. And it works for him. He doesn't need anything else. Except for that one time when he decided to bring some heavy machinery. I hope he wasn't taking any kind of medications while he was driving that thing. And I do hope he was forklift certified. Shout out to God. Anyway, but yeah, man, I just Taker. I think, yeah, like I said, because he knows what works. He doesn't need anything more than that. But like you said, it's the same people that give shit to John Cena and Randy that will suck Lesnar and Taker's dick. But like I said, it works. People pop for it. People pay to see it.
Yeah.
And it's these fucking AEW smart marks, which don't get me fucking started on always empty wrestling. Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like Taker, like you said, people are gonna harshly judge any supernatural gimmick against Taker's, but I also think rightfully so, because obviously it'll never be the same or probably ever done as well as Taker's. But you need to at least look at the booking consistency.
True, and that's just kind of one of the things. Is just Taker was, I think he got the best shit. He was just so well respected backstage. And don't get me wrong, I don't take away from the Undertaker. I don't take away from Mark Kelly. He's an amazing person. He fucking worked his ass off backstage. He became a locker room leader for God knows how many years. And fucking, he deserved everything he got. But, in my opinion, it's unfair to compare supernatural gimmicks and characters against the Undertaker, because, like you said, there will never be another Undertaker. There will never be somebody, a gimmick that's as good as the Undertaker. Again, I go back to the Eminem reference. There will never be a fucking another Eminem.
Child of God. Anyway, sorry.
It's not going to happen. And to continuously compare, especially newer gimmicks to things like that, it's just it's setting the new gimmick up for failure. Now, is that a goal that they should try to attain?
Possibly.
Yeah, I mean, to be as big as The Undertaker would be anybody's fucking goal. The only people that are as big as The Undertaker, to be quite honest, whenever you hear it in the same room, is probably The Rock and Steve Austin. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the big three.
Much everybody's as I like him, Hogan.
Yeah, but that's like everybody's big three. Fucking Rock and Austin were even bigger than Hogan.
Yeah.
Like...
Suck it, Golden Era nerds, anyway.
Right. But to be like, well, it's not as good as The Undertaker, so it's shit. It's kind of like...
See, that's why I argue... I see your point, but I argue it a different way. I think it is fair to compare these new supernatural gimmicks to The Undertaker. Do not compare level of success, especially overall, but compare consistencies. Not necessarily say, oh, well, Taker's an X-time champion of this, he had this many great matches, or blah, blah, blah. Just compare consistency and how they're booking them and how they're protecting this gimmick compared to how they would have done it if it were Taker in that situation. Not necessarily give him the undefeated streak, the main event of WrestleMania nonsense, the grandeur that is The Undertaker. But just look, okay, Taker starting out, and it was in this exact position. How would they have booked Taker? Like, would they have booked him to lose here and look weak here? Or, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get
Book him with... Compare the level of consistency, not the level of overall success. Because like we both have agreed, you're never going to be at The Undertaker 2. You'll never be Taker 2. But you need to be the next you. And the next big supernatural gimmick. And I'm crossing my fingers and I'm hoping the Wyatt Six are the next big thing for the supernatural gimmick. And I hope we fucking see him again soon. Do something! Anyway, fuck! I'm so sick of getting invested in the Wyatt lore and the Wyatt characters for them to just fuck off for weeks at a time.
Well, it wouldn't be special if they showed up like every week.
But they've shown up, beat up Chad fucking Gable for some reason. Did the Wyatt thing. Okay, this is going to be so fucking controversial. This is going to be such a fucking hot take. And I'm going to get crucified for saying this. Rest in peace, Bray Wyatt. Please forgive me for what I'm about to say. But for the fucking love of God, can we stop doing promos like him? Because as much as I love the man, he pulled a rock on Instagram and could talk for 10 goddamn minutes about absolutely fucking nothing. He could spend 10 minutes saying a bunch of words and saying absolutely fuck all and jack shit. Like, well, I was down in the deepest darkness, and there was a light and a bird, and I said, hey, you guys, follow the buzzards. What the fuck are you talking about? Speaking a bunch of cryptic riddles that don't correlate. What are you talking about, you fuck? Anyway, I love Bray Wyatt to death. I love the character. I love what they were trying to do with him. But they just had him, like, he was just rambling. Worse than I ramble. At least I have a fucking point.
That's why they have Ramblin' Rabbit.
Yes. I get that, but I get the meta humor there. But like, fuck, man, can we actually give them something to say? If you're gonna treat them, here's the thing about Taker. Yes, he wasn't always showing up, always doing stuff. He was more, especially when his return, he had more rare appearances and it was special. But when he showed up, and when he opened his fucking mouth, it was important. And he said some shit that meant some shit. And you knew it meant some shit. Because it was a direct threat to someone in particular, typically speaking. These guys disappear for weeks on end, pop some fucking seizure-inducing thing up on the screen that you have to fucking rewind, grab your phone, and fucking decipher the fucking, using a cryptogram cipher or some shit like that. You have to have a fucking degree in quantum physics to decipher, and then go on the internet and read some rambling shit that talks about nothing. And then they'll show up another couple weeks later and say, Nuba juice. And then they'll leave for 2 more goddamn weeks. And then they'll beat up fucking...
I think Miz is next on the list.
Well, yes, clearly that he's the next one on the list. But they'll come up, Numagaba juice. And then they'll show up in a couple weeks and beat up one of the referees because he spilled his juice the other day. He didn't clean it up. It's just like, what the fuck? Give them something substantial to do. I swear to God, have them beat the fuck out of the Miz and
move on to the Judgment Day.
Just move on to the fucking Judgment Day already. Or
well, no, we can't go Bloodline.
Here's what I was thinking. If you're gonna have them go after the Miz, fucking just go for it. You keep having this fucker stick his hand in all these fucking groups and start fucking breaking people up. Have the Miz just join with the Final Testament and have them feud with the Wyatts. Give them something to fucking do, because Karrion Kross is too goddamn good on the mic to be getting put in fucking dumb bullshit. You keep teasing him to be this mastermind puppet behind the entire lore of the WWE, only for him to job to fucking Awesome Truth in the New Day.
Yeah.
Fuck, why even have Paul Ellering manage these fucks? Just because, hey, you remember the Legion of Doom? You remember Road Warriors? That was cool, wasn't it? Oh, I remember. His head looks like a member berry.
It really does.
That's all he is a walking member berry.
And seriously, you have two of the biggest and baddest monsters in WWE right now in Razor and Akam.
Who've they beat?
Yeah. That's the fucking problem.
They lost to the Street Profits at WrestleMania.
Which I still love that their name is Akam and Razor, like Occam's razor.
I don't give a fuck. I don't like it because you were right there. You had it. You fucking had it.
Yep.
You could have named the other guy Toka. You could have had Toka and Razor. And
True
then
story.
fucking Karrion Kross could have gone by Karrion Kross the Shredder. I'm just saying. And then they could have had a match against the Ninja Turtles. Which they did because they fought the New Day. But, because remember they were dressed up like Ninja Turtles at one time. I'm just fucking saying. You were this close.
Yeah, like you could honestly, the Final Testament has all the makings of a great fucking like terrifying faction.
They could have been a supernatural faction, even to some degree, with that fucking hourglass bullshit.
Yeah.
They could have built Karrion Kross up to be the actual final boss of WWE, which is crazy.
Which is basically what he was in NXT.
Yeah, and what's crazy is they were kind of hinting at that with the slow descent of the bloodline and him cutting that promo. I brought that thing out for a reason. The sands of time were slowly dripping away. Your time is running out before your empire comes crumbling down. You could have had him be the mastermind, Palpatine-like puppeteer behind the WWE Universe's entire lore. Like, how fucking cool would that have been?
Right.
And you could have had him feud with someone major at WrestleMania for control over the fate of the WWE Universe. And then fucking Triple H Levesque could have finally been like, I've had it with you meddling with me on the WWE Universe, and I'm going to put a stop to your meddling and blah, 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 and Triple H noises, look at my nose, I got the books, and then you're going to be facing, at WrestleMania, gong, and then the lights could cut out, and here comes the Undertaker, and you could have just had a 5-minute match, or, I don't know, like, you could have done anything with Karrion Kross other than what...
And the trip would be that he would beat Taker at
Yeah!
WrestleMania and be like, I really am the fucking puppet master. Actually, like, launch him into a new fucking stratosphere.
Or, if at that point you didn't want anything else to do with him and you think this is getting out of hand, you could just have him lose to Taker.
Or The Rock.
Him beat The Rock?
How else do you become the final boss than to beat the final boss? It goes back to fucking Nate.
Well, see, the problem
To beat the man, or
see,
to
the
be
problem
the man,
with
you
that
gotta
is The
beat
Rock's
man.
not going to go for that.
I mean,
If anyone if between the two, if any of them would be willing to do something to lay down for the betterment of the business, it would be Taker.
yeah, but here's the thing: The Rock has stock in business, and if he actually believed that Karrion Kross and the fucking thing would do it, he would do it. If Triple H sat him down and was like, "You need to fucking do this," I feel like The Rock would make the right decision.
Black Adam. Fast and Furious.
Yes, I'm aware that he's a money-hungry whore. However, that's exactly why he would lay the fuck down at WrestleMania, because he's a money-hungry whore.
So The Rock says to Vince, Vince, this whole this World Wildlife Foundation thing is getting out of hand. Why don't we call it the WWE, Vince? And so I go up to Hulk Hogan and I say, brother, I think you should turn heel and join the NWO. And then Hulkster said, you know what, Rock, that's a great idea. I think I will turn heel. And the rest is history. So The Rock helped form the NWO, brother. Fucking Mr. fucking... I've had In-N-Out for the first time 7 times this week. Head ass. Fucking... He couldn't walk through my door into this office, but he's natty. Yeah, that guy. Dwayne the Anabolic Rock Johnson is definitely, yeah, no sir. He's not fucking laying down for carrying a cross, of all fucking people. Who's this fucking Jay Brody? Why don't you go play with your fucking leather and whips, you kinky fuck? The Rock's gonna tell it to, the final boss is gonna tell you like this. Sticks and stones will break your bones, but whips and chains excite you because you're a kinky, sick freak. If you're look at the tongue, what the final boss is cooking. Shut your mouth, Atlanta. If you're fucking, he's not gonna fucking, no.
I'm not saying that he is going to, but I'm saying that if
He's going to call him a Rudy Poo candy ass. He'll never have a career in the professional wrestling business again. And then he's going to beat him 1, 2, 3. If he even has a match with him in the first place. He may just rock bottom people's elbow and leave.
Rock bottom people's elbow. I'm out.
Hit my fucking music. Yeah, so no. That'll never fucking happen. But I'm tired of ranting and doing the tongue thing. And
Agreed.
Yeah, I'm ready to
pass out.
So, thank you all so much for coming out to this very ADHD addled episode. This is what happens when we do this shit in the same room.
Right.
But thank you all so much for coming out. There'll be more Dual Wield Wednesdays coming out in the future. There is still more 31 Days of Halloween coming up. This is our final week, of course, so please enjoy these last few episodes. It's been a great ride. I hope you guys have enjoyed it all so far. Please stay tuned for the rest, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode of Dual Wield Wednesdays, whenever that comes out, let's be honest. But see you guys tomorrow for more 31 Days of Halloween.
Yeah, until then, drink your water, don't be a dick, and have a nice day.
He's gonna leave now. He's leaving me. He doesn't love me. Yeah, oh well.